And we're rolling.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. It's crazy.
I got these little fancy arms here. I got them for people over there, but there's nobody over there, so I guess we get to use them this time.
What makes it legit is that you've wrapped the cable around it.
That's right.
You can't, you know, if you were ghetto, it'd be all zip tied or just hanging low. But no, you're legit. You've wrapped the cable.
That's right. Yeah, it's like I've spent so much time wrapping and unwrapping cables.
Yeah.
Just being in the band and then just doing all this stuff that I've done.
How do you do your extension cords right?
I hope so. I saw a video on extension cords recently.
How to do it the right way without them twisting up.
So I need to review that again.
Yeah, it's a little over-under thing. Because after a while, your extension cords look all like candy canes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Ooh.
It's rough.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got some fancy sodas here. These are pretty good. This one
Have you had all of them?
I haven't had all of them. But that one's a Dr. Pepper-ish.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to grade it.
You're going to have to grade that.
There was somebody brought in like a, can't even remember the name, Dr. something, but it brought me attention that the Dr. Pepper Museum in Texas has a display of all the fakes.
Okay.
So I guarantee this will be in their display once they figure it out that it's there. So it's really funny because there's so many companies that try to be Dr. Pepper or try to have a thing. It's huge display of Dr. whatever, Dr. Slice, Dr. whatever.
Dr. Thunder, Dr.
Yeah.
Dr. I don't even know.
Why don't they just put as like, we want to be Dr. Pepper? That's all. But they have to put doctor. That nobody puts practitioner.
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
puts nurse.
Yeah.
You got to have doctor so you know we're trying to copy
That's
Dr. Pepper.
I'm sure you probably maybe know the origin of the name, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know.
It's rumor. It's subjective. It's some say it was an actual doctor and whatever, and some say it was like written because the doctor's daughter or whatever. But yeah, they don't have that history, even though it's one of the oldest sodas out there before Coca-Cola, and you can get it from Pepsi or Coke. That's why it's better. That is definitely Dr. Goodwin.
Yeah. I have tried that one.
It's not bad, though.
I have tried that one, but I'm only once.
No, it's not bad.
Some people can taste the stevia, and they don't really like it. Like my brother does not.
I don't mind stevia. I mind aspartame.
That's the diet.
I can smell aspartame, and I'm like, I don't want it.
Ugh.
It comes by my nose. I'm like, nope, that is not my drink.
That's in all the Diet Coke and stuff.
Diet Coke and things like that. Yeah. But no, that's not bad. It's not Dr. Pepper, but it's not bad.
These are cool because they're like low sugar, and they're pretty good for low sugar. Like the lemon lime one is really good. Because you can taste it's got like real lemons and stuff.
Those ones are easier to do with zero sugar and low sugar. Lemon
is so refreshing anyway that if you have like a carbonated cold drink with lemon base, if you like lemon, you can't really go wrong. In my opinion.
Yeah.
This one's ginger lemon. I haven't tried this yet. They have a ginger ale. They have all the classics, root beer.
Well, they plan to be around for a while with all the different flavors.
Yeah.
So
what's been up, man?
It's just been working all the time. So much work.
Yeah.
You always get the reactions like, well, hey, it's good to be busy. Oh, it's great to be busy.
Yeah.
My legs, I don't like it so much anymore, but yeah. So there's always a downside, but yeah, at least the last 3 years has just been so much work. So much work.
Yeah, the crew's been smaller.
The crew's smaller. We're busier. Yeah, it's a weird dynamic how things changed.
Yeah. Wow.
Like you go back to, and I don't want to, I'm not saying, let's start talking about the pandemic. No, but you go back before that and think about your life compared to now. And there's things that I never thought I never thought that our restaurant would be closed 2 days a week. We were open 7 days a week all year.
Since 1972.
Yeah, except for 5 days in the entire year. Now we're closed 2 days a week the entire year. And it's like, once we get to those 2 days, like today and Sunday, it's like we earn it.
Yeah.
To get there. Because it has been so busy. And that's great. I mean...
Yeah.
Job security. Woo.
And it's for sure a day off for everybody. 2 days off in a row.
Well, sure, a day off for
the crew.
The crew.
But not you guys.
Not
necessarily.
Not necessarily us. But that's okay. We get other perks.
For sure.
So we're good.
I miss it sometimes. I really do. Sometimes I get like nostalgic memories of like deliveries were real fun too.
Yeah.
I had a lot of good moments on delivery because I do well by myself, and I'd have a lot of those moments, like driving, just like being like, man, this was fun, just zipping around town driving pizzas.
Yeah.
I know it was a pain in the ass from like the store.
Well, yeah. I mean, we when we actually did the math, we were not making enough to be doing delivery.
No.
It's like, why are we bothering with this? But it was, yeah, I remember doing deliveries too. And I think the greatest thing about deliveries for me was learning the map of Alamogordo.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Okay, I know where to go now.
Yeah.
I know how it works. I know the evens on this side, odds on this side. Yeah.
I remember you kind of schooling me on that a little bit. I mean, I knew
Yeah.
the town just from skating and riding bikes and just going places, obviously. But
Yeah.
I remember you helping me out with a lot of that. Like, no, these streets and that. You know, it's pretty cool. Sometimes I'd miss the wood streets, though. Like, there's the new wood streets, and then there's
Yeah.
the other ones on the other side of Florida.
And then there's the one-offs. Like somebody has an odd address on the even side of the road and things like that. And I've like told the people there, it's like, hey, just so you know, in case you ordered, and
Yeah.
they don't care.
They're
They
not
don't know.
interested.
That's my address. I understand that, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
But not our problem anymore.
I ordered this map poster of Alamogordo. I guess this guy makes it because I was looking at some of those maps.
Is it from a certain year, or is it like new?
I couldn't tell you if it's super accurate or not, but the general shape and everything is.
Well, I mean, the
decent.
fact that at least it looks like it has the lines out to the golf course and, Walkertown and stuff like that. It's not like an old map of Alamogordo.
Not old, yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It came all crumpled up though, so I was like, man, like hopefully he'll send me a new one.
Yeah.
I put in like a claim with him, and
I got that one photograph from years ago that Brent had bought that house to flip. And
right.
Inside of a drawer, it was like kind of crumpled up inside of a drawer, and it was a photograph of over the skyline. And when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, some town. I'm like, oh wait, no, this is Alamogordo.
Cool.
And you look closely, and you can see where Alamogordo High School used to be, where Lowe's grocery store is now,
Yeah.
and stuff. So you can kind of figure out the date is somewhere in the 60s. But the coolest part of the photo is if you look at the corner of White Sands and 10th Street, there's a car accident about to happen.
Oh,
Like, you can see it. I'm like, that
frozen in time.
it's frozen in time. Like, unless that guy actually stopped, that's a car accident about to happen.
Wow.
So I have that photo. I think it's pretty cool.
I love the old history of this area. I mean,
Yeah.
because we're locals, but
Yeah.
and then we grew up here and stuff. But I've always liked icons like the water tower or the sawmill or like that old building on New
Yeah.
York. That's such a shame. That thing is just so
Yeah.
beat up right now. All the windows and everything.
I did the one time many years ago, and I don't know if you can still do it, but at the library they had the microfiche, like old school microfiche film,
I got to do that once or twice as a
and
kid.
just go through the Alamogordo newspaper, and it's this really cool time machine if you just do it right, and you're just like, wow, I know where that building is, I know what it is now, or that's gone. And I remember reading about it was ads for a grocery store I'd never heard of, but as I'm going through this, it's where the Granada Shopping Center is now. It was a grocery store, and as I'm going through, I start seeing articles about the grocery store and how this guy, the crew wanted to unionize because they didn't feel they were being fairly treated, and then the guy was like, well, you unionize, I'm going to shut the store down. And then like the ads just stopped because he shut the store down, and you're like,
You just saw it happen.
I just saw it happen on the thing. It's just so weird and cool. It's all that history that before we even existed. Alamogordo had a whole other population before us.
Oh, I know. It's wild.
I was like saying, you can see the history, like if you go in front of the pizza mill and the arcade, and you just look at the sidewalk, and you can see the dips from the old driveways of the houses that used to be on that block.
On 10th.
That the concrete is still the way it was from the 50s.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, why is it weird dips right here? It's like, because those used to be the driveways to the houses that used to be here in the 50s.
Right on 10th?
Right on 10th, in front of
Yeah.
the arcade, in front of the pizza mill. It's got these weird driveway things to nothing.
Curb cuts.
Yeah, because that's what it was. And there's the history is still there. Just kind of confusing some, but it's like, man, there used to be houses here.
I know.
Crazy.
I love that stuff. Especially like with Washington Park. I think that's where it all started with me, like having an appreciation for like architecture and old stuff.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a skate place, but it became just naturally because of the way skateboarding is and architecture and just stuff like that. But I always wondered, like, what was this place? Like, why did they, you know, and all downtown cities have stuff like that, fountains and ledges and benches and trees. They're just outdoor recreational areas. And every downtown city has cool stuff like that. But for one, Washington's not necessarily downtown.
No.
But it was like a...
But there was a history there before you got there.
Yeah.
You guys create your own history there, but at some point you go, why is this even here? Like, what was here that they put this here?
Yeah.
There was a reason for it.
I've never found a very clear, definitive answer either. I know, obviously, the amphitheater made sense for shows and plays and music and...
Yeah, which I never,
movies.
I don't think even as a kid, maybe one time there was an event in the park where somebody used that.
Yeah.
But it must have been way before.
And then a guy I know, I work with him at the school. He helps out with some of the low incidence kids and stuff, a really nice guy, but he used to work for the city. And he was telling me, he's in my art class every now and then, helping with some of the low incidence kids. He comes in as an EA to help, and he does art and everything too, but you know, I've made a lot of like stuff to do with skateboarding, and some of it was the dome.
Really? Why would you do that? Did you feel a connection with art and skateboarding?
Yeah, somehow.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's related to
somehow happened.
Yeah, there's a thread. But like we've done a few amphitheater pictures and started talking to the guy about it, and he's like, he's talking about the early 90s and stuff, and the planners, the side edges used to be stairwells that went down into the building part of it. And I vaguely remembered, I'm like, I think I do remember like way back in the Rolodex somewhere seeing stairs that went down into they were always filled with dirt, and they were like planners on the sides of the amphitheater.
Yeah. I know where you're talking about, but I don't remember.
There was a little like hobbit door.
I know the hobbit door.
To get on stage or backstage. But there used to apparently be dressing rooms, and the planners used to be like stairs that went down way back in the day.
Wow.
But just the way they used to build stuff. You don't find
also,
nothing like that anymore.
I used to work at the Flickinger Center, and when I worked there, I was the maintenance and janitor guy, and I got back into all the little hidey holes of that place, and I found so much stuff from when it was a movie theater that I just like, you'd sit there one day and just looking like, this thing used to be, people used to watch movies here in the 50s.
Yeah.
And I find little bits of film and stuff because they have the old projectors up there, and that's how I started liking all the Dr. Pepper stuff, because I found old Dr. Pepper ads, like movie real ads from the 1960s, like let's go out to the lobby, that kind of stuff, but just for Dr. Pepper and all that stuff. I found that at the Flickinger Center, and I liberated it from its hidey hole. Yeah. And then that's how I got into Dr. Pepper. But that history was there. Is like, this used to be, and there's a picture of it when it was a brand new, and it's 1950s cars in front of it announcing the Sierra Theater, and it's like,
wow,
all this before we ever existed.
I know. There's still a few of those cool old buildings too, like the other old theater on the other side.
Yeah, I was only in there once because I was trying to get some letters for the flick, but I took my time.
Yeah,
because they did not do any renovations in that. They were using it as a television studio, but they didn't do anywhere as renovations, and so it's just, you could see it. Yeah, you can see what it used to be, and it wasn't super fancy. It didn't have all the little artwork and designs, but you could see what it was.
Nice.
You're like, that's cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool to. I want to start doing some videos or something with just things around Alamo, you know. Like, I always thought that'd be cool, like little mini documentaries.
Yeah, and I get super interested, especially if I get involved with it, like the Flickinger Center. So I look back, the pizza mill. I looked up everything I could find from the beginnings of when it showed up in 1972 all the way up through, which it's frustrating me because I've asked Brent's dad and mom, like, you have photographs or anything, and I guess they weren't really big on. They may have something.
They have some, but who knows where it is.
Yeah, but the things that I have found, it's like, that's so cool. There's the pizza mill. It's 1982, and some soccer team's going to the pizza mill or whatever, and it's like, I recognize that spot. Oh my gosh.
It's in the newspaper.
Yeah. Or when the building that we're in now was built, and it was a dry cleaner.
A dry cleaner, yeah.
And I could see it just shows the guys like cutting the ribbon, but you can see the frame of the door. And like, that's the door I go into every single day. It's a restaurant. And it was a dry cleaner. This is,
yeah.
History is kind of cool, and it's weird how, you know, just give us 50 years Give us another 100 years, and
Yeah.
all of it will be some other kid going, "What was this for?
Yeah.
Why did they build this?"
I think of that like my brother and I have talked about it, like time being like the fourth dimension, kind of like the
It is.
and because the physical space, the length, width, and height or whatever is
Yeah.
the same. It's the same space, but only through time has all this changed. So at one point in this very room, there's like blue collar or like office ladies, secretaries. This might have been the front office for like the electric company.
Yeah.
And then at some point, like Amy and I and a couple of ferrets and like skater kids and like making music and all the stuff that we've done in here.
Some guy wiped his brow because he was, he was laying the brick, and he's like wiping his brow, taking a break, thinking of how much more he's got to lay before the building's completed, and so he can move on, go back home or whatever, and all that stuff. And like I've seen about my house. I saw my house in the newspaper. I saw that the year that it was built, and I found out I'm the second owner of the house from 1960.
Wow.
I'm the second owner. I'm like, so the guy who bought it brand new was the guy who died, and then I bought it from their family. I'm like, holy crap, I'm only the second owner of this house. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you could see, even though they renovated it, like the back of the door's got these scratches, and there's a hole here and stuff. It's like, well, what did they hang here? What was there? It was a whole other life, a whole other family. And even after I'm gone, barring some tragic event, somebody else will live in there. Mm-hmm. And they'll have a whole other family, and it'll look different. And it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the time.
Just don't think too much, because it's just like,
Yeah, it can get overwhelming.
yeah. But
Is that soda any good at all? Is it tolerable?
no, I said it's fine. It's
Good.
definitely not Dr. Pepper, but
Good.
it's fine. And I don't mind stevia at all.
Because I was going to bring in some water too, and I forgot. So and hopefully these are
so
good.
You're just going to have to hang with this. That's all you get.
I'm going to crack that door too to get that vent going through.
It's all right. It's too bad if you don't like them. You just sit there.
You're stuck with them.
You're stuck.
Yeah.
Just don't make a face when you drink it.
Yeah, we have a fly on the wall again, huh?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I can catch him.
Oh yeah, you're good at catching flies.
That's good. But the problem is here, I don't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
Like at work, I know what to do with the fly, but here I'm like, I'll just let you go this time, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Those damn flies. So I actually did read your book.
One of the few.
I read the whole thing. Now it's been about a year,
That's okay.
so I don't vividly remember it. And
That's okay.
Sometimes
tens of people have started reading that book, and maybe about 6 have finished it.
yeah, I remember having it on the shelf for probably a good couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I have a friend who wrote a book, like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like you just don't. I've never come across anybody to just see it through. So I just have an appreciation for people who, like see things through, and like they actually like had an idea and like made it happen.
And that's what it really ended up being, because at this point, obviously, I'm not screaming, hey, it's being made into a movie.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's physical. It exists in the real world. And to me, that's like freaking awesome. Like you have something that was in your mind, and now it's in the real world, and other people can consume it. And that, to me, touches on creation.
Yep.
Like it's actual creation. And if some people got it, some people didn't get it, some people didn't read it, some people leveled a table with it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. It exists.
It's there.
I did it. I actually did it. I don't know if I'll ever get another one out. I don't know if I'll ever have the time, but I got one done.
I love it. I love the concept. Because I agree totally with everything you just said. Like that's like what I live for.
Yeah.
That's what makes me feel like, oh, like this is all something.
We're supposed to be.
We're supposed to create.
It doesn't matter if you're religious or you're not religious. And I try, with the very exception of a very few groups of people, if you're atheist or if you're Christian, just pick those two. We only have this life on this planet as it is.
Yes.
So you're going to want to make the most of it. And then why not leave something behind that's a signature of you?
Yeah.
Who knows if 100 years from now somebody stumbles across that book and whatever in somebody's attic or a thrift store or whatever, and then they like it or whatever. And it's just, if anything in this entire existence, you should leave something positive for the world after you're gone.
Yes, if you can, leave something positive. Yeah.
So that's that. And then there's like a couple other things that I've done that I was like, that's cool. Like 100 years from now, that'll still exist. I mean, I won't. People won't even know who I am, but
Right.
that'll still exist. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man. So it's like I like the description. So how would you summarize it, I guess?
So the essential idea before I wrote it was, and it's very simply, it was, you know, everybody will tell you that what they believe is true. That's the right way, and what you believe is wrong.
Right.
And I wanted to have some story where after you died, everybody was wrong. Everybody was wrong.
Yes.
And it's a whole, and the original idea was that you just ended up in the middle of a war, and you got to fight for sides and it evolved from that. But the whole concept being that whatever you believed, however you believe afterlife is, you're wrong. How do you cope? How do you live now? How do you exist in an afterlife where you and like I said, because nobody got it right. Nobody gets it right, and so and this guy, he dies unexpectedly and is immediately thrown into, we need you to do this, we need you to do that, and it's like, I don't even know how this universe works. Like I rewrote Adam and Eve. They're in the book, but it's a completely different take on Adam and Eve to just throw it all off. It's like, okay, it's not what anybody believes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the big concept, is to just have, what would you do in an afterlife? Because even if somebody's right, there's going to be people that are wrong.
For sure.
Yeah. Even if we blink into nothingness, or if there's a pearly gates or whatever it is, somebody's going to be wrong. How are you going to cope in that afterlife?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like, well, now you're presented with this. So
here you go.
There you go. And are you going to believe it? I mean, you're there, but are you going to believe it? Like, I don't know. Those are concepts that I like to have these big, huge existential talks with people. And a lot of people, especially people of faith, or some people, they don't want to challenge it. It's like, I don't want to challenge your faith. I just want you to think a little bit outside the box. Like, I don't know, what are the possibilities? And even if you want to go into it, it's like, I think it's something is like, because I do go to church, but there's like a couple of times that I brought something up that's like, at the end they'll present you with the book of your life, and you'll go over all the things that you have done. And I have brought up, and like, do you think it'll be an actual book?
Yeah.
Or is that just a phrase that's used so that your mind can understand what we're going to experience? It's not going to be a physical book that opens up with some gold binding. It's just so that we can understand, because we're little humans, we don't understand. Yeah. And I had people tell me, no, it'll be an actual book.
It'll be an actual book.
Okay. I mean, for sure, if that's what you think, but just to try to think a little bit more. Yeah. And it deals a lot with ghosts and spirits and actual, like, I love paranormal stuff, because as much as aliens are exciting, I know there's aliens.
Yeah.
There's no way there's not other life out there. But paranormal, that's dimensions and things like that. And that is very intriguing to me.
Yep.
And I've talked with people that it said they have witnessed things, experienced things, and I want to ask them questions, and I do, and then I just never get the answers that I want. I'm not trying to disprove anything they're saying. I'm like, okay, I'll even say, the next time you see something, would you mind either asking the spirit this or observing that? And I never get a response.
Yep.
One of my big things that I really want is, if you ever see, I don't know if you've seen spiritual things, if you've seen ghosts or anything like that.
Not much. I mean, I have people in my circle who have, but I've never really
seen something that's
I've never had the
unexplained or whatever. The one that I really want answered is, because it'll deal with science, because I really would like, is if, say, you see a story of a guy who, I saw this woman, and she was floating down the stairs. She was wearing a Victorian dress. It was blue and flowing behind her, and her hair was wispy red or whatever, or just really deep descriptions of these things. The one question I want to know is, what's the light source on the ghost?
Yeah. Like,
is the room light? Is that, because if you don't have a light source, you can't define definition. You don't know she's wearing a dress. You may get a glow of something, But
Okay.
unless you have shadows, you don't get definition. So what's the light source of a ghost?
Yeah, how is it
How's
casting?
is it the room light is casting, or is it independently lit? And one of the thoughts I was trying to put in there's like, maybe they're projecting their own shadows, like using shadows as we would use light to project,
Like the reverse.
their definition. But I don't get any answers because nobody wants to ask. A lot of people that have experienced are scared.
Yeah, or they're just like, I kind of remember, but it's vague. They don't, they don't have any
I
like
see out of the corner of my eye.
explicit
It's like,
memory.
Well, you don't see anything out of the corner of your eye, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway.
sometimes you have a feeling like something's there or something, or
Yeah.
and I think about it like bandwidth, like we have a limited bandwidth as to our sensory
Yeah.
organs or whatever, and we think that's everything
Oh yeah.
based on what we see, touch, taste, smell, all that, right? But there's got to be more. It's just like the electromagnetic or frequency, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
electromagnetic spectrum of
Yeah, yeah,
light,
yeah.
right? So. X-rays and microwaves and all that shit we can't see, or
yeah.
animals with a broader sense of hearing, right? Like your cat can hear shit that you can't.
Oh yeah.
And so, our antenna is just limited,
But that means there is another dimension.
there has to be.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
See, because I'm confident
fact
about
that
the
we can-
aliens. I'm confident about the aliens, but the other dimension when it comes to spirits, I don't know.
I
That
think
would be awesome.
the very fact that we can imagine it makes it plausible almost.
Yeah.
Because almost everything else that we've imagined can, like all this was in someone's imagination.
Yeah, somebody came up with
other
it.
than maybe the mountains, that might be God's imagination or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The mountains and the trees and all that, but everything else was a thought. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just,
I need something discernible proof. And what's bothers there's two people in my life that were that could feel presences around them, and one of them, because I told them how much I really love to experience something and I never do, and they experience stuff all the time, they said, but they liked being around me because the spirits were quiet and they were gone. I'm like, are you telling me that I am desperately seeking proof of the paranormal and they don't want to be around me at all?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't get any proof. It's like, yeah, it's just so quiet when I'm around you. I'm like,
yeah. My
that may
aunt,
be great for you, but I want to see something.
my aunt has these experiences all the time, and sometimes I try not to be skeptical of her because she's my aunt, and like I try to believe what she tells me and stuff, but just never having those experiences myself, I'm like I can just take
Yeah.
it with a grain of salt,
Yeah.
But
I don't want to blow anybody off.
then
but
there's people like
I do understand like how the human eye works. I understand how we can perceive things.
Right.
But I don't want to blow anybody off. I just want to experience it myself.
Amy's seen a bunch of weird shit too, and sometimes I'm like, what were you, like half asleep, or like she's seen something like hovering over me one time, and
That would
all kinds of stuff, and I'm just
I
like,
mean, freaky for you, but that'd be badass.
Yeah.
To see.
I'm like, man, it's-
But I've had little things, but it's not enough. Like when I lived in La Luz, in the old house I lived in, I remember feeling somebody sit on my bed a lot. Like you could feel the blankets push down in the section. And I would immediately sit up and put my hands in that area, and it's like trying to feel cold spots or whatever. And
yeah.
just, not enough for me.
And have you heard of those dudes, Sam and Colby?
No.
They're like younger guys that do paranormal stuff, kind of like almost like the kids in your story. They're like those guys in real life, but they did a Joe Rogan podcast,
Just the ghost hunter type
yeah.
stuff.
and they have some interesting.
Yeah.
I've never watched their show or anything. I just watched the interview.
Yeah,
and heard
I
the
used to watch
stories
the paranormal shows, and then it's just like, oh, well, these are just as fake. It's like it doesn't matter if there's anything real. The show, because it's Hollywood, has ruined it for me because they present it in a way that makes you go, okay, well,
Jeez.
I can't believe any of this.
Yeah,
So, yeah, but I would like to. Be awesome.
yeah. Some of the old places like New Orleans, or
Yeah,
some of them places that
Well,
are like hot
yeah.
spots for
the things that I
activity.
like to think about is like because nobody talks about it as much, and this is my conjecture based on what I've talked to about people who said they've seen things, is that ghosts don't see other ghosts. They think they're alone, which also can make them feel, upset or angry or whatever. And I'm not saying all ghosts, but it's cool concept to think that you died and you're floating around it and you don't see anybody else that's a spirit, but there's thousands of them around. You just can't see them. So even ghosts are in their own plane of existence from each other. And it's like, it's kind of cool. And then like some of them was like, if they notice that you notice them, they'll disappear. They'll run away.
Are we talking about in the book?
Or no, this is just my research from talking to people.
Oh, okay.
That
because I think there's some of that in the book too, a little bit, right?
Because
Where they realize they're
bit.
there.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh shit.
And they like take off. And then like a medium, like there's a famous one, John Edwards, the medium. He does TV shows. That's why I based the one guy off of in here.
What's his name?
His name is Cal.
Cal.
But it's I saw him on a Nova science show. It's a show that has nothing to do with paranormal. And he was getting his brain scanned. And the guy who did the brain scan is like, I'm not saying paranormal, but there is something going on in this guy's brain that doesn't go on in most people's brain. So this John Edwards guy who's made a fortune being a medium has something is going on differently. He's connecting differently in his brain than most other people do. And they wouldn't say definitively paranormal, but that's cool. That's cool. There's something.
There's more to all of this. There's definitely more to all this, even with like psychedelics and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, where as far as the brain scans made me think of that. Where like, there's certain gateways that open these dimensions, and there's all these people that have the same experiences. They go and meet the same entities and have the same.
Yeah, there was an astronaut on one of the last Apollo missions as on their way back to Earth, and I just saw this recently where he was looking out the window and he happened to be the angle of the window and the Earth was on the plane of the solar system because all of our planets are on the same plane.
Yeah,
he could see the planets
all
lined up in the plane, and he went into some trance-like state and felt something different. And when he got back to Earth, that's what he's been trying to do, is get back to that state with whatever methods, because he's like, we're missing out on something.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully we can do it without drugs, because I don't want to do it with drugs.
Yeah, that's a whole mixed debate. I mean, it depends on what your definition of drugs are and how much they are, and if they're, who says it's like you're allowed to take these ones and not those ones, and
I don't care
who's making money and all that crazy stuff. Because I think some of it would be beneficial, like the mushrooms and stuff. Maybe not in high doses, but psilocybin, you know.
Yeah, I think that, you know, as humans we screw up a lot with
depression and all these issues, and
there's benefits for everything, but humans know how to screw things up.
Exactly.
So much. It's like, but for me personally, I'm just like, okay, well, I hope there's other ways to get into a state where you're like, okay, but I don't knock anybody. You want to try whatever you want to do. Yeah. Just don't make me do it. Yeah,
it can be destructive or constructive. It just depends on how you want to use it. Like a tool, like a hammer. Or
your phone can. Your TV can. It doesn't have to be a drug. Everything's a drug if you're using it as a drug.
Right.
To inhibit your life a little bit or a lot.
Yeah, some of that can be really beneficial as a tool or something, you know, but if you use it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I had sent you a picture. I forget what it says. It was like a snippet from your book.
You sent me a picture like a long time ago?
Yeah, about a year ago.
I don't remember.
Let's see.
I think you did one of my favorite lines. I think you said.
It says, Annabelle tries to grasp what's happening, and then quotes, it says, okay, you can see her, and she can see you, but she can't see us, and they can't see you, but they can all hear you, and then none of them can hear us.
Yeah.
It was something like that, and I'm a little lost on it right now, because it's not fresh in my mind.
Yeah, so they were trying to have
I remember it kind of blowing my mind, though. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And
they were having a paranormal phone call. So the ghost hunter guys... one of their team, the girl in their team, could sense the spirit, and the spirit was talking to her, and she was relaying it to them, which was relaying it to a phone, which was relaying it. It was just this living to dead, dead to living phone call thing that was happening, and the one spirit's trying to get it straight. Like, okay, so she can see you, but he can't hear you, but they can hear you, and she can't. And that was him just trying to get it straight.
That's I remember being like, dude, I got to send this quote back to him because that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that's what that was. Yeah, there's paranormal phone call.
Because sometimes when I read, it's kind of hard to focus. I've heard so many people say this, and I think we're slowly being conditioned to not being as good at reading as we used to be, just like society in general. Because you can listen to audiobooks and use your phone, and like, sometimes it's hard to sit there with a book. And
the biggest shocker is I hate reading. I hate reading, but I wrote this. Yeah, and it's like because I wanted to write a book, and I had to play the game because I hired a really good editor, and she was like, "This is how you have to write." But I did that, but I think that's what the problem is with my book is that I don't think a lot of people got it. I think that the attention span was because it's very. I have it written in a way that I wanted you to have the physical book. You can get the Kindle, but I wanted you to have the physical book, so you'd sit here and you start to read, and then you go, wait a minute, and you have to go back.
That's what I have to do. Yeah,
and then and I wanted you to physically do that. I was purposely wanted somebody to do that, and then I wanted you to get to a point where you thought it was over, but you're like, there's this much more of the book left. This can't be over.
Yeah,
but it's acting like it's over. You can't get that in a Kindle. You can't see
how much you have left.
How much more is left, and I wanted that. That's why I wanted the physical book because it was a different experience than the Kindle. Especially the Kindle, it's a lot harder to scroll back, but it's very important that as you're reading, you get those moments of, wait a minute, wait, and you go back.
Yeah.
And then you either look at the date or you reread something. And then, that's what I wanted with that, because I wanted to be more, you're not just reading a book, you're interacting with it. You're going back and forth. It's a non-linear story, so it jumps around in time, and the dates are so important. Yeah. So as you read the chapters, and I think I put in one of the revisions of the whole thing at the beginning, how important it is to pay attention to the dates as you read the book.
Interesting.
Because, so I did that. I did it on purpose to make it a little confusing. But the people that got it, that have told me, that's great. The people that didn't get it but still finished it, that's great too. The people that just bought it, okay. But yeah, I at least got it out. I got it done.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere 75% got it. Yeah. I need another go with it, probably.
Yeah, just start over. Let's read this again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I might have taken too long too. I was like, I got to hurry up and keep this fresh before I start losing it, Yeah. So I did read it all within maybe a month or two, but I think another revisit would be good.
There are subtleties that's meant to be reread.
And you could watch the same movie 20 times and see a different movie every time. So with a book like that, it's going to be a new experience. But having already gone there once, a lot of that is already cleared. The pathway is already cleared. Yeah. So then, like, some of it comes back to you, and then you have room to see all the other stuff you missed the first time.
Yeah, and I wanted people to notice things on the second go around, like, not giving anything away, but it's like a certain touch that was just a throwaway line. But if you go through the story, you're like, oh wait, there's a reason that touch was there, or this thing was there. You don't notice it, and you're not supposed to notice it unless you go back. But yeah, that's why I wanted to make it fun, because I hate reading books. I hate them. Yeah. I threw one across the room because it made me so mad. Because it's like I didn't like how it was written. It was just like, oh, I tried to read Tom Clancy, and he wants to go into like 2 pages of how a F-16's laid out. And I'm like, dude, just get on with it. Come on.
Right. But you got to ride that line.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that, like, my editor's like, oh, you must read a lot. I'm like, no, actually, I don't. Much. I just wanted to write something I would read. Yeah.
My reading experience was like straight up like 40, 45, and then just dropped off. Like I used to read so much as a kid. Yeah. I think it's because I was learning how to read. And then once you learn how to read, you're like, oh.
Well, it's not just that, too. And then you had a lot more time.
Yeah. A Saturday is like forever.
Yeah. Now you feel like you're sitting there reading, like, I could probably be doing something right now. I think I got to get my laundry done. I got to go get the grocery shopping. It's harder to get those moments where you can just relax and just
read all damn day.
Yeah, and then you just, by the time you do go to read, it's when you're getting ready to go to bed. Or
and
whatever.
Then,
and then you zone out. It's like,
I try to read a little bit.
It's called being an adult and getting, we're still trying to make money in our lives, and we're being an adult. I don't got time to read.
No.
So.
Yeah, I guess that's mainly what it is. He just ain't got time to read.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Predator when he's like, I ain't got time to bleed.
It's like I bought a PlayStation 5.
Time to read.
I bought a PlayStation 5. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have time to play it, but I got one. But I did play a couple games, but it's so hard as an adult. It's just I can't shut off enough to go, let me just chill out here and just play a game.
Yeah.
It's like
it's hard for me to do that.
Something. I could be creating. I could be doing something. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's the book.
It's a cool book, man, for sure.
It's available on Amazon in hardback and paperback and Kindle versions.
The Rites of Zane.
The Rites of Zane. A sci-fi adventure in the afterlife.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Was there any story behind the cover art or anything, or just
so the title came in a dream, which I didn't know what the Rites of Zane was when the title came to me. But the cover art matters once you've read the book.
Okay.
It may not matter to you because you didn't pick up on it.
Yeah.
But there is a moment when it mentions specifically like a blue orb.
Okay.
Which is essentially what that is. It's just cut off. It's
right.
not
Right.
It's not just a perfect circle in the middle of the book.
Okay.
But yeah. It was easy to do because obviously I did my own cover art.
Yeah.
I did my own digital design on that.
Very nice.
So,
very nice.
yes.
Heck yeah. Shoot. So what else?
I don't know, man. What,
did you hear about? Well, I know you got some knowledge about Titanic.
Did you hear about the Titanic? I've heard about.
Did you hear about the whole submarine and all that?
I am very much aware of the submarine.
That's pretty horrifying. Not that we need.
It is extremely horrifying, but the thing is, like, James Cameron, who directed Titanic, is very, very into Titanic, and he has done his own submersibles and things. And you look at his submersibles, and they look the way you want a submersible to look. When this thing went down, they said it was missing, and they start showing footage of the previous interviews with the captain and the president and CEO of whatever this submersible company is, and you look at that submersible, you're like, well, of course it exploded or imploded. Oh, it was run by a game controller. There was carbon fiber was holding the hull together. And all the experts that deal with submersibles told them, is like, that's not going to be a good idea. It's not going to hold up. And they went down a few times because you can. Carbon fiber is fantastic, but it's not meant to do that over and over and over and over and over again. So the best thing that happened to them was that it imploded. That's the best thing that happened to the poor people inside, because if they had suffered, like ran out of oxygen or whatever, implosion is milliseconds. It takes your brain 13 milliseconds to comprehend what your eye sees. It took that sub 1 millisecond to just be gone. They couldn't even comprehend it before it was over. So that was the best result of a tragic accident to happen.
Yeah.
But hopefully now, don't go on some cheap. And Mr. Beast was supposed to be on that. Did you hear about that? He was invited to be on that trip.
Oh, no.
And he's like, nah, I don't think so. I don't want to do that. And, of course, he didn't know that it was going to implode or anything. But even so, it's just how many people are just missed it. Like the kid who died, it was supposed to be his mom.
Oh.
But he wanted to go instead because he wanted to do a Rubik's Cube challenge or whatever. But, yeah, those pressures are insane down there.
Insane.
I saw it was a funny meme. It was like, did you know that the swimming pool on the Titanic is still filled with water?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, it is.
Because the Titanic came up, I think, twice today. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got to talk to you. I knew you were coming over.
I
have
a huge fascination with ocean liner shipwrecks. Not battleships, not pirate ships, not ocean liners, because those are cities. And the cities underwater is just so... I don't know. It's fascinating to me. I love thinking about things that shouldn't be there. There's a grand piano, but it's underwater now. When I was a kid, I'd take a tub of water, and I would always crash cars and people into the water just because it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
It was so fascinating to me. But I know about
juxtaposition.
Titanic. And I went to Titanic Museum in Branson, Missouri, and I'm teaching my grandparents about some of the stuff, and other people that are there start listening to me like I'm a tour guide.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching them the history of the Titanic and things like that.
Which museum is this?
It's well, they are like traveling museums, but I think it was a semi-permanent museum in Branson. It was a Titanic museum.
Okay.
The actual front of the museum is the front of the ship, and you go in and it's got all that kind of stuff. I guess I got to try one of these other ones here. Classic root beer.
I should have let you pick. Damn.
No, that's okay. I'll take that. We just go down the line. We'll fight for the
fight
for the lemon lime.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there. But I learned all that stuff. I watched the movie Titanic 8 times in the theater. It's almost a 4-hour movie, and I've seen it 8 times in the theater when it came out. I love ocean liner shipwrecks so much. And there's other ones that other people may or may not have heard of. The Lusitania, the Andrea Doria, the Yarmouth Castle. These names I'm throwing out there, but I learned about all these shipwrecks because it's just so fascinating to me. Because they're just these people. They're going on vacation, or they're going to go live a new life in the new world or whatever, and then poof, it's underwater now.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good film. I haven't seen that in a long time, but it's like so suspenseful, you know.
It is, and
it's really
they've even learned new things about the Titanic since that movie came out. So now the movie is not as accurate as it could be.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of the things I can nerd out. I can just do it. I was doing it with Amy.
Yeah.
I can nerd out on Titanic. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Even the movie. I even got the backlog of how the movie was made and the actors and all that stuff. But I can do it. Lusitania, the Titanic's 2 other sister ships, the Olympic and the Britannic.
Did they sink too?
The Olympic got hit, but it didn't sink. It was actually decommissioned, and so parts of the Olympic are now a hotel in London. So you can see the Titanic had that big wall clock when they walk up the stairs. That clock from the Olympic is now in a hotel.
Sick.
As part of their wall, and then some of the light fixtures and things like that, because they just, well, the ship's being decommissioned. And then the Britannic was converted to a hospital ship during World War I, and it got torpedoed off the coast of Greece. And so it's laying on its side off of Greece, but it's diveable. So it's in shallow enough waters that people can actually dive to it.
Nice.
But other than the name, it looks exactly like the Titanic.
Right.
You know, they took out some of the amenities because it was turned into a hospital ship, but yeah, so I know it all.
So in the movie The Titanic, wasn't there clips of the actual ship, like at the end or the beginning, or?
There's very, very few.
What's that guy's name?
Footage.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton, yeah.
So he's like the document guy.
Well, yeah, he's a treasure hunter.
Treasure hunter guy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's looking for the diamond, but there are very few actual footage of the Titanic leaving, and then as it did its first port stop, and there's a little bit of film. There's film of the captain on the bridge of it right before it took off, of him standing there. You know, just not that much footage, but yeah, because you know it's 1912. How many film cameras were out there? But what is cool, I think, this may be wrong, but no, James Cameron did it. There's whatever the film camera took in 1912 of the Titanic. In the movie Titanic, at that angle on the dock, there's a guy with a film camera. So it's like he actually put the guy in there. They also filmed the entire thing backwards because the way that the model of the Titanic was built in Mexico off the coast, they couldn't build it the right direction that it was in England, so they just did everything in reverse. They embroidered all their caps White Star Line but backwards, and all the words backwards on all the signage, and then they just filmed it and reversed the film. So if you were there on the day as they were filming it, everything's written backwards.
Huh.
Because they had to make it match, and that's the only way they could do it with the model that they built in the place. It's like, it'd be cool to have one of those White Star Line caps, but written backwards.
That would be cool.
Because it's like, this is legit. This is from the movie. Well, it's backwards. I know.
That's why I know it's authentic. Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
I can nerd out. There's a few things I can nerd out on, and that's one of them.
So 1912, New Mexico was a state, became a state.
Just became a state, yeah.
And then the Titanic. So I know that those are connected.
Yeah, there's what's New Mexico? Yeah, no, Mexico I think was in January, so and Titanic was in April, so right after New Mexico became a state.
Yeah, and how many people were on that ship?
Near 1,000.
Dang.
Yeah, there's just some really big wigs too, because it was a beautiful. This is the best ship ever. So there was a lot of really rich people that went on that ship, and then one who decided not to go. Lucky him.
Yeah, of course.
They actually used the cabin that would have been his as the cabin in the movie for Rose and her family, because in real life it wasn't used. So they just used it for their fake characters because it was easy enough. But they hired the original carpet company that made the carpet in 1912. They hired them to put the carpet in there. And it's just, yeah, it was an amazing architectural achievement, and a lot of lies. You know, they never claimed to be unsinkable. It's just newspapers said it. And then, yeah, there's ways they could have survived, but, you know, arrogance and whatever. But, yeah, there's a lot of tragedy with that. I don't know.
I'm going to have to watch that again.
I don't know how far you want to get into the Titanic details, but, yeah.
Oh, man.
There's dogs that survived on the Titanic because they're first-class dogs, and they got to live while some poor family in the third class died because, you know,
just class.
It's just class. A lot of men obviously died, and then a couple men put on some dresses.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you could think about what you would and wouldn't do, but what would you do to try to survive?
Yeah, anything, yeah.
Yeah. Shit. So, yeah, there's all those stories are there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just remember it was like you and Amy talking about it at some point.
We were at a party and talking about it.
And then it came up twice today. I was like, something about
that's an amazing way to get me to, like, most parties I'm just kind of like standing there, and then it's just like I will turn on. Okay.
Got to hit the right subject.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I don't like going to parties to I say I don't mind going to parties if people have drinks, but I hate going to parties that people go to drink.
Right.
Like, if you're there, you're having a party, and you have some drinks, that's great. But if you're going to drink, then I don't want to be there. It's not fun.
I know what you mean. I kind of got past that, too, at some point, because it's kind of like the time thing with reading. You're like, I just don't have the time. Like, or even if I do, I'm like, I don't know. It's just the opportunity cost is always there, and you're like, I just don't want to just go just to drink. Like, that was the thing at one point for us, you know, and like, oh yeah, what are we gonna do tonight? Anything we could do, especially when we were minors, you know, like just try to get our hands on some alcohol.
Yeah.
But after a while,
and for me,
the hype dies off.
And for me, that was also a way for me, because that's just who I am. If I saw that happening, I'm like, well, that's time for me to go. Like, I'm not going to tell you not. I'm not going to tell somebody to not drink or not to do whatever. I'm not going to get in your face, but I'm probably going to go now. Yeah. Because, I don't want to be around for that.
I get it.
Yeah. So
you haven't been over here in a while.
Long time. I was here back in the day. Before it was anything. Back when there was ideas of, I'm going to put this over here. And then they're going to skate off of that. And then. Yeah.
Because was there any ramps or anything? There was a little bit of stuff in there.
At the very, very first time? No. But
Oh, okay. You came here.
But almost immediately after, like the next time, you already had stuff up.
Okay.
But the very first time that I remember, there was like nothing.
Nothing.
I'm like, you're going to live in a factory? Like, that's badass, but okay.
It kind of goes back to all those old buildings in town. Because I was thinking about another cool building would be the old telephone company.
Yes.
On like Vermont?
Yes. I've been in
12th or something?
We did a play rehearsal upstairs because there's a stage upstairs.
Sick.
I don't know if it is still now.
Because there's that tower thing. I'm like, that'd be sick just to have a tower where you could like just go hang out there and have like your morning coffee or whatever, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it's big enough where you could sit, right? I think we're talking about the same place.
Well, the place we rehearsed is now the TDS building, but the phone company, I remember, the phone company that's on Vermont.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been into that one. I was thinking of the TDS building because that used to be
on Florida and
used to be a phone thing too.
Oh, okay.
And that one has a stage upstairs, but Yeah, the one on 12th, that building would be badass. There's some buildings that are occupied that I was just like, there's one that's the church right there on 12th and Utah near the pizza mill. It's the Gateway Church. It used to be a furniture store. It's just this brick building on Cuba. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, that'd be great for an arcade. Look how big that building is.
Right on Cuba.
The parking lot's great. It's near the restaurant.
And the rec center and all that.
It's like, it's never going to be, but it's like, yeah, some of those buildings you're like, oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So cool to have that or be in it. The ones on New York are, it's sad because as much as you'd want to, they're too old.
Yeah.
You're
all the wiring.
All the wiring, all the stuff you'd have to do to renovate it and make it safe, to do what you want. You're like, but yeah, there are some really cool old buildings and a lot of history if you just, any city, a lot of history if you know where to look.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like that one furniture store on 9th Street with those big windows. It's right across from First National Bank. But it's right
Western.
Ace Hardware.
Yeah, the Western Auto furniture store thing.
That up with those big windows and stuff. I'm like, man, that'd make a sick.
Broadway Fashions. You remember Broadway Fashions on New York? Mm-hmm. That thing is huge, and it had the upstairs.
The loft kind of thing.
That thing would be freaking cool.
Yeah.
And then you have the big garage doors on the one side.
All right, yeah.
Why aren't we rich? Why can't we just buy everything?
Because even retrofitting them for like housing or just something,
Yeah.
Or like instead of buying a house, you just buy an old place like this,
Yeah, just fix it used. It would be cool.
Because there's so much of that commercial real estate just empty now.
Yeah, it's just
buildings.
Prices are stupid.
Prices are stupid, and then the internet and ordering and everything's outsourced.
Yeah, it's
like a brick and mortar shop, like even a music shop or skate shop. It's just really hard to compete with Sweetwater or Guitar Center or.
Oh yeah, you're not going to get the deals. Even at wholesale, you're not going to get the deals that one of them going to get.
You know what's sad is that Hastings is gone too. Like, it wasn't the best place, but it did have a little bit of everything.
It hurt my heart so much when Hastings went away. Like the last time I was in that building, it was full on Hastings, not 75% off Hastings. Not we're selling the racks and it was full on Hastings, and I never went back in that building again. Because I want it to be Hastings.
Yeah.
I knew it was closing, and I went in there. The last time I went in there, it was full on. There was no store closing signs. I knew it was going to close, but I just wanted to be in there because that's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an experience that, for one, why would kids even care to have a movie rental place to go to or whatever? And it was more than that. You had the music, you had the games, you had all that stuff. You buy the cheap guitars and the cheap keyboards and stuff, and books and things, and
it was really cool. It was like, because what made me think, because I was like, man, what made me think of it was as far as retail, like a skate shop or a music shop or any of that. I think what would do good was be like a full-on kind of like culture shop kind of thing, where it's like a little bit of everything. And I'm like, oh wait, that was Hastings.
That was Hastings.
They were starting to tap into that. They even had like skateboards towards the end and all that, and
it's the same that
guitar strings, just a little music, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's the same that Walden Books and all them other ones do too. But now people are going more digital than physical, so it's just that model's not working anymore. But which is a shame because physical's way better. Than digital. They're finding that out with TV and movies. But I miss Hastings so much. That was just go there for everything.
Do you remember Hastings like opening as a kid?
I remember the first Hastings, which is not the one you're thinking of. Because there was the Hastings where it ended on 10th Street and White Sands. That's where
where it ended, yeah.
Where the second one was up on the top of 10th Street,
where Planet Fitness
is, and they cut part of the building off.
Yeah, I know.
That was the second one, but the first one was down a block. And it was about the size of a closet. And it was just video rentals. And then they expanded a little bit more to include more of the building. And then they added music and a couple of little things. But I remember when I was a kid, we went and rented the first Ghostbusters. Because we just got a VCR for Christmas. And we wanted to watch a movie. And we didn't get a movie. We got a VCR, but we didn't get a movie. So we went and rented Ghostbusters from Hastings, and I remember it being literally like you would see that old video store in the 80s. It's just walls of videos, nothing else. But that was like old school Hastings.
Old school.
Before they had all the other stuff. It was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember when it opened because we weren't here my entire life. But when I was a kid, I do remember that would have been like 1985, so like 8 years old. I remember that Hastings.
Yeah, because I know you've been here a while, so I was like,
yeah, because I'm old.
You might have seen some of it come and go, but yeah, Hastings was so cool, man. And I think our town would have supported it. I think it's just the whole chain went down.
No,
right?
Yeah, it was the chain.
Because the Alamogordo Hastings was popping.
Yeah, you could have done an independent version. Like if the people who ran our Hastings wanted to keep it going independently, like change the name, like it's not Hastings anymore. We're just going to do our store as the exact same thing. Probably could have went over, but I don't know. I don't know what went down. I don't know if anybody cared or if they had the
back
opportunity.
end of it all.
But yeah, I remember that whole. It's a history thing. I remember that block down there, where that Hastings was and where Walgreens and stuff is the first set of buildings that I remember going up and being torn down. Because back in the day when the Taco Bell was on the corner, there's all these other buildings, and they tore all these other buildings down to build the first Albertsons and the first Walgreens.
Yeah.
And I remember them building that. And then when they tore that down to build the Hastings and what it is now, it was like, wow, I've witnessed the beginning and the end of a building. It's
wow.
That's crazy. It's one, I'm old enough to do that. And two, it's just like, wow, yeah, there's a whole section that just doesn't exist. Like there's no remnants of it.
Yeah.
There's the history before, there's it, but it's gone. Completely gone.
Yep. Yeah, I do remember that the Walgreens, Albertsons, Walgreens.
Yeah, and Taco Bell was on the corner, and it flooded all the time.
I do remember the Taco Bell building, but it wasn't
never
Taco
open. Bell. Yeah, they moved off or whatever. But yeah, that was old school Taco Bell.
It had the pink and
arches
green
and stuff,
and white. Yeah, real classic. I saw a meme or something where it was like Taco Bell from the '90s or something.
Oh yeah, that one with the very retro '90s colors. That's what. Yeah. But yeah, back in my day. So old.
But that was cool when you guys were doing Rocky Horror in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we rehearsed over here.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with doing plays is that there's nowhere to rehearse. Because you can't rehearse at the Flickinger Center because they're doing events. You get the final week to rehearse there before your show, but before that you're fighting. It's like, well, can we rehearse at Chaparral? Can we rehearse this place, that place? There was one rehearsal in what is now the arcade for Arcade Dungeon. There was one rehearsal for something because we weren't using the building at the time.
Yeah.
But they went in there one night and did a rehearsal, and it's just fighting for space. But we did Rocky Horror over here.
Yep.
I taught many guys how to walk in high heels over here.
Yeah.
And then didn't like some of your friends walk in like while we're rehearsing?
Probably.
What's going on here? It's like these skater guys walk into a bunch of theater people.
Yeah, and this was 10 years ago at least. So
it was 10 years because 2013 is when I did it.
I think it was exactly 10. Because this was before all the whole you hear all this trans stuff and all this stuff now.
Well, where it got out the way it is now, the overly. I'm not gonna go down that road, but back when being trans could be fun, and not being an angry person. But it was. I love Rocky Horror, and if you get Rocky Horror, it doesn't matter who you are, you gotta love Rocky Horror.
I need to revisit it because
the one thing that there's a lot of people that didn't understand when they were doing the play is that the Rocky Horror Picture Show takes place in the Frankenstein universe. So that universe that Frankenstein existed is the same universe as the Rocky Horror Show. These aliens found Dr. Frankenstein's castle many decades after he had been killed and the monster was gone. They came to our planet and found his castle, and Rocky Horror happened. It's like if you understand that this takes place in the same universe as Frankenstein, it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more fun. It's like you just don't,
it's not
take
as
too seriously.
Random and you get it.
Yeah,
context.
Like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, takes place because it's in the music over at the Frankenstein place or whatever. It's like, yeah, if like you were in you could write a movie that takes like what I said is like you should do Independence Day 2. What Independence Day 2 should have been, there shouldn't have been any aliens at all. It should have been Independence Day happened, and now Independence Day 2 is our world is using alien weapons and alien technology because we've harvested and there's wars or whatever. But nothing to do with aliens.
How we've moved on as a global society since having that event.
But just being in that universe, but not have anything to do with the aliens. And that's the same with this. It's Frankenstein, but it has nothing to do with Frankenstein, even though he builds a guy like Frankenstein because, hey, here's the castle to do it in. If you're going to build a man, this is the castle you're going to build a man in. But yeah, that was a great time, and we thank you for letting us choose this place.
It was classic. Yeah, I had just started going back to college a little bit, and I had some quiet time where it was just me, and then I'd hear you guys start up, and I'm like, this is hilarious. And just all these voices, because it's powerful when a whole bunch of voices come together. Yeah, and it was a great
special moment. It was a great shift in what Alamogordo Theater did, because before Rocky Horror, there was a sense that you couldn't do anything that would upset anybody on stage. Everything had to be super clean. Everything had to be, you can't get away with saying anything. You can't get away with being too provocative. The man and the woman, they'll kiss and have this big romantic moments and big old musicals. And there was a show before that we did that we got away with, which I can't, 10 Things I Hate, or 10 Things, or I can't remember what the show was.
Is it I Love You,
Perfect Now Change? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I Love You, Perfect Now Change.
That one was a good,
we did that before, and that's the first one that had real swear words. Now, there were some shows before that the F-bomb was in there or whatever, but they always would change it.
Yeah.
But that was the first one where we did it. And it was like, you know what? The way the audience reacted, I think we could do Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And we did it, and it was a blast. It was so much fun to do that first one. And then we did the midnight showing. People showed up drunk, but who cares?
Yeah.
But it was such a fun thing to do that first Rocky Horror.
Awesome. If I had to guess, I would have thought the other one was after. In my mind, I thought
I Love You, Perfect Now Change. Yeah. No, that was first because that's where I got the idea of like, well, maybe we can do
this. Yeah.
Because I said I directed Little Shop of Horrors in like 2005 because that was my favorite show. And some people in AMT at the time were just like, all right, what's the next show you're going to direct? And I didn't want to. I loved Little Shop of Horrors. That's my favorite show. I don't want to do it anymore. But as a joke, I said, fine, you guys do Rocky Horror. I'll direct that because they're never going to do Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And then they did Rocky Horror. So I directed it.
Yeah.
That was the only other show I did. But you got to have a passion. You got to really want to. There's so many shows that get done that are just, let's just fill in the blanks. Let's just see if we can get some money out of it, but there's not as much care taken into it as the shows where people actually do care. And there have been many shows where it's a passion project for somebody, and that's what you need. You need to have some sort of passion behind it, and not just we gotta do a show.
Sure, it comes through in the product. I mean, the proof is there. Like Rocky Horror, like the crowd was really involved. That was really cool. It was kind of like you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Like just even as an audience member.
Yeah, and it was a fun time. It was a weird time. It was a fun time.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking the Audrey 2, that's from Little Shop of Horrors.
That's Little Shop of Horrors.
But
I for some reason love musicals that have the word horror in it.
Oh, okay.
Little Shop of Horrors.
That's where I'm getting.
Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors and Rocky Horror. Those are the ones that I like the horror in it. But yeah, Little Shop of Horrors. That was 2005.
Because you did the whole Comic-Con where you had
I used the prop that we made for the show. I used it at Comic-Con in 2012, and that was an amazing. Because going to Comic-Con, there's all sorts of crazy things you see or whatever. But wearing that costume, which it's a puppet costume where you have a fake arm and your hand's in the puppet. So my arm was up like this for 9 hours a day.
Ooh.
At Comic-Con. But it was so cool. And people were like, is that a robot? Is it animatronic? Is that from Mario? What is that? And it's like and then some people got it. But that year, I got to be on CNN. I got to do a bit for Attack of the Show on the G4, and I met like all these famous people, and they like taking pictures with me and stuff, and interviews, and it was like it was cool to have that experience. Like I love having, like I'm nobody,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden 1,000 people are taking pictures of me like I'm freaking Brad Pitt or whatever. It's like, this is crazy, and all I got is
the perfect costume.
styrofoam puppet on my hand, and people are stopping and go.
It's awesome.
Such a crazy experience. And yeah, so I wore that, and I wore it a couple times, but there were people, it was crazy a few years later at Comic-Con that I was wearing something else, but somebody was like, hey, were you the guy? I'm like, yeah, I was. That's kind of cool that they remembered it. But yeah.
And to run into them again and all those people.
Yeah.
'Cause how many people are in attendance? Like
100,000 people at Comic-Con. And then there's a few times that when I've worn costumes that hit, it's been badass. It's been so much fun. There's a couple times where I wore costumes, people just walk right by you. They don't care.
Yeah.
But the ones that hit, that make an impact, it makes it so much fun because you don't get to have that in your regular life. I sit there making pizza all day.
Yeah.
To have Seth Green stop me to take my picture, and then all these people are like paparazzi around you, that's so crazy.
It is.
It's like, it's weird. It's cool to have that experience under my belt. Like, cool, I know what that's like. All right.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What were a couple other ones that hit?
I did Matt Murdock from Daredevil, so not him in the Daredevil costume, but he was just wearing a suit, and I had the cane and the glasses like he was blind.
Ah, yeah.
And I had bruises on my face, so that one did really well. The one that I really liked that I did recently was Hook. So I did Peter from Hook with Tinkerbell. So there's a scene in Hook where Tinkerbell's pulling on Peter's tie and trying to pull him. I recreated that with a little Tinkerbell in the thing, and that one was really cool. And then I can't remember. There's so many now over the years.
It's been what? How many years?
It's like 12 years now. I actually didn't do anything this past year because I just kind of wanted a break from the cosplay stuff. But
You still went. You just didn't.
oh, still went. I just didn't cosplay. But yeah, it's cool to have different experiences every time. The celebrities that I've met, it's just weird. It's a whole.
They're all just there.
Yeah, and I've told people, like, and they won't get it unless you experience it. If you want to know what the world's supposed to be like, go to Comic-Con. That's the way the world should be, because there's 100,000 people from all different walks of life, from all over the world, wearing whatever they want, looking whatever they want, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
They're just like, cool, man. Hey, let me take a picture. Hey, can you mind if I do this? Everybody is cool with each other.
Nice.
It's like, that's what the world should be. It shouldn't matter who you are, where you come from, your walks of life. To be cool with each other. It doesn't happen like that unless you're at Comic-Con. And I always, when I'm at Comic-Con, I take time to feel that. Because, like, this is what the world should be like.
Just the harmony, but amongst all of it.
Nobody cares what you look like. Nobody cares where you're from.
Yeah.
Everybody's there to have fun and geek out on the things that they love. And it's all sorts of different things, from TV to movies to music to games, all that stuff. And everybody's there to have a good time and have some food. And this is what life should be like. And if there is a heaven, that's what I want my heaven to be.
Nice.
Where it's like, it's just Comic-Con all the time.
It's just Comic-Con, man.
It's just so relaxing to be in a place where it doesn't matter. I was Supergirl in 2017.
Awesome.
Not Superman. I was Supergirl. I met the writers from the show. The girl that plays Supergirl, Melissa Benoist, saw me and was like, that's awesome.
Nice.
And it's like, I was so out of my comfort zone, but it was like the best time ever.
Awesome.
And there was another person that did a character from the same show, and it was a woman gender bending, a guy's character. I'm like, that's insane. It's the same show. She's doing a guy's character, and I'm doing a girl's character
at the same
time. And it's like, holy crap! We connected. We took pictures with each other because it's like, she had this idea however many months ago. I'm gonna go as the female version of this character. It'll be fun. And then I had the idea, I'm going to go as the guy version of this character. And we met. It was like, that's freaking cool.
Way cool. Yeah.
It's like, that's all right. And it's like, yeah, it was very, very weird, very, very different time. There was a moment. I was talk about this is like we were standing outside of a restaurant, and I'm in full Supergirl costume, and I don't look like a girl. I mean, I got the costume, but come on.
Yeah.
We're standing outside of a restaurant, and a woman and her 3-year-old daughter were outside this restaurant, and the mom goes, "Honey, look who it is." And the little girl turned and saw me and ran up to me and just hugged my legs. Like, she saw Supergirl and was so happy that there's a superhero. And it was like, holy crap. For a moment, you feel like what it must be like for a celebrity, or what it's like for that kid. They
don't know the difference.
Yeah, she just thought she met Supergirl.
Like, for real.
Yeah. And the first thing she wanted to do was give her a hug. I'm like, that's so cool. That's
cool.
Crazy.
That is the
so
trip.
Yeah, it's fun experiences and stuff like that. It's make Comic-Con like so fantastic. And I'm not talking about, I don't know Albuquerque Comic-Con.
I was about to ask.
It's just San Diego.
San Diego's the one.
That's the main one. That's the only one I've ever been to. And they could have, the smaller ones could have those same experiences. I don't know.
But it's the OG. It's kind of the staple.
It's the one.
Yeah.
This year was a little weird because the actors and writers were on strike, so they weren't there. So that was kind of weird, but it was still
cool.
Yeah,
all the fans,
everybody was still there enjoying themselves. They just didn't get to have the celebrity interactions, but whatever.
Right.
It gets old after a while. Like you realize they're just people.
It's part of the experience, but not the whole experience.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
interesting.
It is.
Comic-Con. I need to go check it out sometime eventually.
Yeah, it's hard.
Sometimes I'm like, just all the amount of people. Sometimes I'm like, I go to concerts or something, and for the most part I enjoy it. But sometimes I'm like, why do I take myself into these huge crowds of people?
Well,
because it can get a little overwhelming.
I don't like being touched. I don't like people around me. I am very
claustrophobic, kind of. Maybe
I'm not claustrophobic. I like my personal space. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Don't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
Does not affect me at Comic-Con. At Comic-Con, I am perfectly fine in a crowd of people being pushed one way. That I am so comfortable in the most awful situation in other world. If I was at a shopping mall and it was like that, I would want to die.
Yeah.
But at Comic-Con, I'm like,
it just works.
Yeah, it's all right. I can walk and interweave these people and.
It's kind of like everyone's tuned in together. You know?
It's weird how I could shut it off because if normal daily life, I cannot stand people touching me or being that close to me.
That's just the proximity.
But I can shut it off for Comic-Con, and it's like it's home. It's the place that I feel the most relaxed, and I get it once a year.
Nice.
So,
it's always July.
It's always July.
It does seem like it is. The last couple of years, we haven't had 4th of July at Brent's, though. I do miss that sometimes.
Yeah, and I get how it is. I mean, at some point, you're just like, you get the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's not...
They can go do something else for once.
It's not what it was, and then maybe we can try to do something. We're not tied here, and that's fine. I'm like, I'm cool with it, too. For me, and it's, again, like, there was a comedian like, why are you taking pictures of the fireworks? It's fireworks. You're never going to look at those pictures again.
Right.
Who cares? It's like, and I'm pretty much done with fireworks. However, I do have a really great photo. Did I send you the photos of you and Amy? There was a couple years ago where I was behind you guys, and the fireworks were going off, and I took the silhouette of you and Amy with the fireworks.
Nice.
I took those photos.
I think you sent it to me, but I don't have it, or maybe it's way back in our messages.
Whatever. It's gone. But anyway, that's the best I've ever taken.
If you sent it to me, it's probably still somewhere back in the record of.
I'm pretty sure it's
iPhone land.
But that's when you take pictures of fireworks. But other than that, like 4th of July for me, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm patriotic. I would say that a lot of the patriotism borders on cultism.
Yeah.
And like, as much as I love being where I am,
4th of July doesn't also have to be like, for me, it's not really about that. It's almost 4th of July now is almost like an excuse.
Yeah.
It's one of those nights at Brent's, like we're with all you guys, because we don't
get
work together anymore. Like usually on nights like Mardi Gras or something like that, it's like, oh, it's about the food and Mardi Gras, but really it's like I get to hang out with you, that specific group of people. So it's almost like the 4th of July became that for me up there.
Yeah, but for me, I would rather just have like I like the Mardi Gras thing because I like the food. I like the, you know, it's different. 4th of July is just like, I don't know. It's just never been.
It's just kind of blah.
Yeah, it's like New Year's Eve for me. I do not care about New Year's Eve. I would rather be in bed by 9. And then in the back of my head is like, is it 12? Because I kind of hear some dogs barking.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. And it's not about being old. It's just, meh. It's not a thing that I care about.
Yeah, it could be like another birthday too. Some people don't care about the birthdays
really
much.
I can't stand my birthday.
At some point, your birthday is like.
What's
the big deal?
My favorite birthdays is when nobody notices it's my birthday. I don't like the attention.
Yeah.
There's so much.
I don't either.
There's so much narcissism in the world now and stuff and things. It's like I don't. It's not like I don't mind getting old. That's fine. I don't want to acknowledge it. I don't care. Just let the day go by and I'm happy.
Yeah. I've struggled with that too because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. My birthday it's not about me. I guess other people have like their right to celebrate you, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of. That's what I chalk it up to. I'm like, okay, like my mom can celebrate her son or whatever if she wants to.
Yeah, but for me,
as far as me, I'm like,
for me, it's the same as like Valentine's Day or whatever. It's like you feel obligated to.
You feel obligated to.
Why don't you chalk me up on, you know, some random day throughout the year? Be like, hey man, I really appreciate you, and it's good to have you around, and it's like, congratulations.
Yeah.
But like Valentine's Day is like, hey, I love you. Well, what about next Thursday? You gonna love me then, or are you just doing it on Valentine's Day because somebody told you to?
Yeah.
It's like so the holidays where you're supposed to show admiration or love for somebody. Okay, well, why don't you just do it
on the regular?
On the regular.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to have a holiday for it. Greeting card companies need that. So
yeah, the real people benefiting is all the people selling you all this shit that you feel obligated to buy.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it. What was it? Singles Awareness Day?
Singles Awareness Day.
Yeah, because for everybody else.
Oh, man, it's...
If you're single.
Dude, that's the biggest thing is like, you know, with my church, it's the, you know, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I love it, but they're very, very marriage-oriented.
Of course.
So if you're a single person...
They're always trying to set you up.
Well,
right?
Like a lot of times
or questioning.
They're like, yeah, a lot of times they were, but luckily where I'm at now, they've stopped. Because I was like, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I got to a point where I was getting set up with people to fix.
Ah.
And it would be so, because there's like, hey, this is my sister or my cousin or my daughter or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. And then I start to talk to these people. I'm like, and then I go back and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. What is it? Well, I thought maybe because you're such a good guy that you could help them out. And it's like, so you weren't trying to help me find a companion in life. You're trying to fix your kid. And I just got to a point now. It's like, I don't care. I don't care.
If it happens, it happens.
If it does, fine. If it doesn't, I'm great. I don't care. It's like, yeah, I will be happy to be this crazy cat dad.
There you go.
I don't care.
Why not? Yeah, I mean the critters.
Like the thing is, it's like, again, we only have this one life. Do I sit here and I get all depressed and like, oh, I'm all alone, nobody's with me, why can't I find this or that, or do I just live my life? And if something cool happens, it happens. It's like, I'm not going to sit around and just be depressed because some aspect of what normal culture says I should be doing didn't happen.
There's all kinds of ways to live. Yeah, there's no one way to live. Like, oh, you have to have the wife and the kids, and the house and the fence and all that, like the cliche, you know,
all of it. It's like, nah, you know what? I'm going to do my thing, and if I don't like it, then I change my thing.
Your thing's cool too.
Yeah.
Like it seems like you have fun
want.
and
yeah.
So
I don't feel any pressure by it anymore. So it's like, man.
If you reflect on your life and things that you've done a lot of cool stuff too. You know, it's just
I mean, what do you want to be? What do you want from life? What do you? Everybody wants the fortune and glory. No, you don't. If you did, you'd have it. Yeah. Otherwise, be creative. Do your thing. You know, don't be a leech on society. Don't be that guy.
Well, you don't really realize what your values are too, because it's like, what if you snapped your fingers and you had all those things? Okay, you'd be all right for a while, but then what?
Yeah.
What you really need is a pursuit of something.
Yeah, you need something to
matter. Keep going for. Yeah. Whatever it is.
And it doesn't matter whatever it is. It could be I want to have kids, and so you're pushing for that, or I want to create this, or I want to do that, and You're leaving a positive impact. You're circling back around. You just leave a positive impact on the world, and don't get pressured into. I've seen. Oh my gosh, I've seen so many people being at the church. It's like this one guy, and it's like I'm not gay, but this guy was gorgeous, like the epitome of what you would think a woman would want, with a chiseled jaw, worked out. Gorgeous guy, and he was depressed all the time, and he's like, I can't find a girlfriend, I can't do this, I can't. It's like, how? But you're gonna be depressed rather than just, how about you just live your life, man? Be a cool guy, just live your life. Don't let that weigh you down. You are what we consider a gorgeous person, and you're depressed because of that. It's like, no, don't live under that pressure. Come on, just live your life.
I think if you can find your like your own genuine authenticity, like everything else will come. Like, because it's like you're on the path. Like if you're trying to like force a path, I mean, sometimes you need to force a path. Maybe for whatever
you got to get out of your comfort zone sometimes.
But if in general, like you find your natural way of doing things, that's where you're gonna find the people and everything, the natural harmony. You know.
They'll flow.
Not based on what you know, what other people's values are. But your own true core values.
There's so many outside forces that are going to drag you down throughout your life. Don't be one of those forces. You gotta just
get out of your own way.
Just I don't know.
It's hard to change your thinking too, where like a lot of people don't know how to think. Like as far as, I mean, not just a lot of people, but like me or anybody, right? Like you have to filter your thoughts and be like, those aren't really my thoughts. Or even if they are my thoughts, like I have the right to sort through them and deal with them, and like I don't have to like act on them or like live my life based on these feelings. Like sometimes you get feelings where you're like, they're kind of icky. You're like, I don't want that, but like, why am I thinking about this, or why do I feel down? Like I have no reason to, but like even somebody like me, I'm generally like positive and happy. But so even sometimes I'm in a mood, a funk for no reason.
Everybody's got that,
and I'm just like, why do I have this? But you got to be able to catch it and like deal with it. And throw it out.
I also think everybody goes through cycles and stuff too. It doesn't matter how happy you are. There's going to be those days where you want to throw something across the room.
It's not all high notes.
But it's like, who are you trying to be? Who are like? The one moment that I felt the most depressed in my life, it was like half a day where I was going to do that curl up in a ball, like this just sucks. And during that half a day, I was like, I could stay here, curled up in this ball, or I can do something to change it. And I instead decided to learn a new skill.
Nice.
And that got my mind off of, the depression was there, but you're focusing on something else to take your mind off the depression, and you're learning something and gaining a new skill. And now I repair arcade games because of that, because I started from depression.
Wow.
And it was a half a day's worth of depression before I was like, you know what, how about I learn a new skill? You know what, this game is broken. How do you fix games? Let's do this. And that got me out of the depression and then into a whole new hobby. Whole new side of things.
That was the perfect segue, because I was like, man, before we end it today, I was like, man, we gotta strike.
Gotta bring up the arcade and the pinball.
Arcade,
it's like, you know, I freaking, so much has happened. Like the beginnings of what we had back in the day, of the games that we had, and they just sat there and nobody was working on them. And then just the things that I've learned is the joy that I have. It's like, we all people coming into the arcade is like, what's your favorite game? I'm like, I don't know. I don't play them very well.
Your favorite game is probably just
my favorite
fixing them.
My favorite thing is fixing them, and I think sometimes Brent doesn't get it as much, because sometimes he'll say, "Well, it was just buy this new game, and we don't have to worry about fixing it, and it's good to go." I'm like, but that's the part of the hobby that I enjoy, is that challenge to find the problem.
That is the game,
and arcade games is where I started, because it was, you know, you get monitors and you have your game board and you have power supply. You have three things to figure out, and if one of those three things isn't working, the game's not working. So you figure out those three things, you get the game working. All of a sudden, this Pac-Man from 1982 is working and people can play it again. And then pinball machines came around, and they were scaring me because there's so much in a pinball machine. But the moment I took that first step into pinball, that's my drug now. Like I love repairing pinball. The most frustrating pinball machines that I've repaired have taken me so long to repair and have made me so frustrated, have been the greatest experiences because I learned so much. And then when they're done and people are playing them and they're just like, what's your favorite one? I'm like, I don't know. That was a big pain in the butt to fix, but it's working now. I love fixing them.
Yeah.
The new games are great, but I love fixing them.
That's awesome.
And we've had recently so many. If I wanted to quit working at the restaurant, I think I could because I've had so many people. Hey, who fixes your pinball machines? Who does this? And like,
it's a niche. There's a hole in the market for
down here. There is in this area of the state there is, but I don't have the time, and I have like 45 games ahead of you. Yeah. And my biggest reason is people don't understand how much it costs.
Yeah,
it's very expensive. Our hobby is very expensive. The arcade makes $0. It makes negative $3,850 a month because we only charge $0.25 to play video games, or up to $1 for pinball.
Yeah,
and we spend more than we take in because it's more about the hobby.
Yeah,
than actually making money, and it'll never make money with the way we do it. But the fact that you can go in and play Pac-Man for $0.25 like you did in 1982, that's what we want. We want people to experience what it was like to be in an arcade back in the 80s.
Sick.
And that's all we've done. And yeah, it helps to offset a little bit, but yeah, it is very expensive hobby. And you go to fix a pinball machine, there's the old school electromechanical ones. Those ones don't have computers in them. They're just metal reels. They cost more to fix than they're worth to have. So unless you love it, don't bother fixing it. And I've told people that. It's like, do you love your game? Do you love it? Well, it's like, if you don't love it,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. If the game's worth $600, it's going to cost $1,500 to fix.
Yeah.
And then what do you got? You have this game that you can't sell and get your money back out of it because it's too expensive.
It's not worth the investment unless you're just in love with it for nostalgia.
And we are.
Yeah.
So I'll offer to buy their machine, but I can't fix because they do not understand how expensive it is to fix.
Just the components and sourcing all of it, let alone all the time.
And there are reproductions of parts and some things around there, but yeah, it is not a cheap thing. It is a very expensive hobby to have.
Yeah.
I sometimes tell Brent, it's like, why didn't we just start collecting rocks or something?
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't we get into arcade games? It's so expensive.
Cool, though, because there's not... I mean, I'm sure there's a world within worlds of everything, right? So there's a lot of people that do restorations and around the world and all this stuff. You guys certainly aren't the only ones, but...
No.
But, like, anywhere around here, you guys are the ones.
Yes, not doing it around here. Like
somebody has to be those guys.
Yeah.
It's like... Somebody has to be out here doing this shit, like whatever it is. You know?
The majority of the people that are around that have, barcades or whatever with pinball machines, they're doing it for the reasons that classically you do it. You're trying to make money, so they have the games. They don't care about them.
Yeah,
like we do. Our games we care about. We want them to function exactly how they should. If something's not working right, I want to fix it right away. Or if something breaks, I want to fix it right away. And you want to have the experience that you don't want to go in there and the joystick's not working right. And now you're frustrated and you're upset. We care about the games.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do.
You can feel it. Again, the proof is there. Like you can just feel it. Like
we
the
go
authenticity.
The extra mile. There's so many things that Brent and I will do to restore something that's just for us. That it's such a small little detail that nobody's going to care about or notice except us. But that's why we're doing it. It's for us. Mm-hmm. It's our hobby, and we want it to be a certain way. So I don't care. Let's do it. It's stupid, and nobody's gonna see it. But let's do it. It's our hobby. Let's do what we want.
Yeah, and like if you're gonna take it that far, I say that sometimes with the band. Like our drummer guy, he just puts in so much work and has this big drum set, and he goes all these extra. He just goes extra on all the stuff, and I'm like, he's like, man, people probably think I'm crazy, huh? And I'm like, dude, we're already going this far with it.
Yeah.
Like, why not just push it a little bit further?
Yeah.
Just to make it that much better and make it sound that much better. And
it's more. Why not? You want to be satisfied with it.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make the money. We want to be satisfied with what we got in our collection. Be proud to walk through our arcade. Be like, yeah. is cool. This is what you wanted.
Yeah, you don't want to leave any like anything left on the table. You want to like finish that machine to like the best how you want it to be, not just like just it's good enough. As long as it's good enough for you, you know.
And so like,
the standard is
kids don't care, other people don't care. There are a few people that really get it, but yeah, it's a great thing that we allow the public to play in, but we're very protective of the machines, and I care so much. We don't sell anything. I mean, we are selling some things that we don't want any, but we don't
duplicates and triplicates
and games we weren't even looking for. Like some games you go to buy and they force you to buy another game, or you can't buy that, and some of that kind of stuff. But I've talked to vendors and dealers of pinball machines, and they don't quite understand that we're not selling them. It's like, well, what are you doing? Well, we're keeping them for the collection. But you can sell it for this, or no, it's a collection. And then you want to get existential. Brent's like, it's all temporary. It's like, yeah, but for a short time, we had the stewardship over these machines, and we let them live longer. So even after we're gone, some of those machines, somebody else will get to play. Somebody else will get to restore, and they'll be around and not in a landfill.
Yeah, and I mean, we can make that argument with anything. Yeah. The sun will burn out one day.
Well, yeah, it's all gone. We're all a cinder. We're all just particles in space.
So, but yeah, it's worth doing. Yeah, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing.
It's fun.
Yeah,
we like it.
The whole's greater than the sum of its parts too. Like the whole arcade is like every single machine,
and we did it. Yeah, we did. There's so many things in the world that you talk about. Like, I want to do this. I'd like to do that. Maybe one day I'll build this or what. We did it. And Brent and I, we know it. It was like we built an arcade. We have an arcade that some kids are going into right now that when they're adults, they'll be talking about, hey, there's this arcade that I went to as a kid.
Yeah.
That will be our arcade that they went to as a kid.
And just imagine yourself from the past. Like, if you could only see, like, what you've accomplished with that, like you wouldn't have imagined that, like
it's cool. It's talk about it all day long, and for everybody else, I apologize, but for me and Brent, we love it. We love talking about it, and it's such a great and productive distraction. Yeah, games can be draining and keep you from achieving things, but we're keeping history alive and learning things and creating skills and it's
sharing it with people.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of hobbies people can have, and I think it's a very great, productive hobby.
It's cool because it's like it ties the past together with it's generational. You know what I mean? It's generational. So now people, because there's people that are like, that lived in those times that get to revisit it, but then they get to bring their kids and grandkids and
teach them how to play
or whatever.
Those the kids that have just sat on their iPhones and have no idea. But yeah, it's a whole generation, but it's cool to see it. The things that never die, like a little kid will go through. Sorry about that. Go through all the coin doors and try to find quarters. Like nobody taught them that. But kids were doing that in the 80s. Kids are doing it now.
Yep.
It's cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to definitely go to the arcade. I was going to go last night. We played out last night. So probably next Friday, Saturday, something like that.
Yep.
Be cool to do a little vlog piece.
Yeah.
As long as you wouldn't mind.
I don't mind. People come in, take videos, pictures. All we care about is just don't hurt the machines. Be cool with the machines. We had one guy coming in doing a music video with him and a buddy.
Oh, cool.
It was cool. And then he decided that he was going to get up on top of a pinball machine. And
no.
But I got out there just in time, and I was like, dude, man, I am thrilled that you want to come in here and you want to film stuff, but we are really protective of our machines. Do not do that. And he was so scared. He was so scared. And like, man, I get it. Just don't.
Yeah, he took it too far.
Yeah. I had a drunk woman that was yelling at the game, swearing, using all sorts of curse words, and then slapping the side of it. I'm like, ma'am, please don't hit. My son has an Xbox. I understand that. You can yell at this game. You can call it whatever you want. You can just say the worst things ever to it, but do not hit the machine.
Yeah.
Please.
Yep.
But, yeah, understand it. But, yeah. It's a good hobby. We like it.
Heck yeah, man. Shit's dope. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool little place to go, like catch up with somebody, like my brother, or Amy, or somebody. You know, just not just let's go to the Cade. You know, see Brent.
We made it feel right. We could have just put fluorescent lights in there and whatever, not do the wall, but we wanted it to feel right too. And when we first started it and it got the music going, you could feel it.
Yeah,
like, you're like, oh, there's that. That's I'm a kid. It's 1988. It's wow,
sick.
So yeah, it's a good thing to have, and I hope we get to keep doing it. So you never know. I mean, business model that we have is terrible.
Right.
The public could get like bored with it or whatever. Something could happen, but in the end, we'd still have our private little arcade somewhere. But as for now, it's a fun time.
Yeah, the intent is not necessarily on the making money anyway.
Yeah,
like you
but
said,
even if it closed, it's still our arcade.
Yep.
It's just the public won't be able to play anymore.
Yeah, there's no loss.
Yeah, so
Private
no big deal
parties
for us.
whatever.
I get my Friday nights back. Brent gets his Saturday nights back.
And
no big deal.
Worst case, Brent's like the absolute worst case scenarios. We have our own private arcade.
Yeah, so
pretty good worst case.
Yeah, so but right now, it's a good time.
Nice. So let's pretend that like I have some big real show, so you can get the book on Amazon.com.
Yes. So
I'll
again,
put
the book again is called The Rites of Zane. It came out a while ago, but you can put the link in this
Yes,
in the thing.
In the show notes. I'll put the link in the show notes.
Oh, yeah. So, there you go.
And then...
is this one of those things where you like and subscribe? Is that one of those things?
Hopefully.
Is that okay? I don't know. Some places you don't like and subscribe. I don't know.
I would hope it would be cool to like and subscribe. I've got like 130-something subscribers now.
That's cool.
Which is all right.
That's all right.
It's not bad.
That bell's going to ring when this happens, and then we like, awesome, a new podcast. Oh, it's him.
Nah, they'll be stoked. This podcast is cool because it's like, at first it's like, skate homies or music homies, and then I'm like, I just want to talk to everybody. Anybody and everybody.
Why not?
Like,
and keep it open. You know, if you ever watch, there's so many, like, if you watch talk shows and things like that, and I'm not, like, the late night, they're just promoting things. William Shatner did a show where he just talked to celebrities like, so what do you like to do? Do you like to grill? You like, it's like just talk to people, like,
just talk to them.
It's like that's kind of cool. I'd like to see more of that, and just get into the weird existential. Get into just
because you could talk to somebody about their music or their movie, or that's all you ever hear from that person. But it's like, what does
what's fun for you? What do you like? And
what do you actually do? Like
how do you feel about this? And make it a fun conversation, which is what you did. This was a fun conversation.
It was great. It was very good. Thanks for coming.
Sure.
And I'm glad you were like, I'm down to do it. Cause
I mean,
cool.
It was what, a year or so in the making?
Yeah. Sorry, I procrastinate sometimes.
It's okay.
I was going to hit up April and talk to her again. And then I was like, well, I had already talked to Daniel. I'm like, I got to get to Daniel first before I invite April for a second time.
That's okay.
But I want to get April back on. And I need to get Brent on, but I know he wants to have his...
Yeah, he's waiting for his
grill to be all perfect.
Yeah.
I can't blame him.
No.
I think subconsciously the whole reason I started the podcast, well, for one, is I already had some equipment from recording music.
Yeah.
And so I was like... And I had some friends who did a podcast, and I started getting into podcasts on my own, and I'm like, hey, I could do it. If I could record a song, I could record people talking. And then... But I swear a lot of it was just trips with Brent where I'm like, he'll just be saying something. And I'm like, dude, this is lightning. Like, I wish we could just bottle this conversation.
We said that there should have been a show of the Pizza Mill from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. before we're open.
Yeah.
And all it is just the conversations that are had while we're prepping to open. So that's it. That's the whole show. Like, the moment the doors open, the show's over. Because those conversations can go into the craziest stuff. And I always think about this, like, what do other restaurants and other businesses talk about? Like, are they talking about the sports and, my kid went to the band camp and all this, and we're just talking about the craziest things. They're just so, sometimes
can go anywhere.
Yeah, sometimes it can get a little heated with certain people that talk, but I specifically know that Brent enjoys the debate. I love that it can be real subjects.
Yeah.
Instead of just, the fluff stuff.
Exactly, yeah. So, just the conversation filler. Yeah.
It would have been a good show back in the day, but now it's like, meh.
Yeah. It's funny, I was just talking to Amy about that too, because It was one of the guys that used to come in the morning, and Brent would follow him all the way out to his Jeep and stuff, and he'd still be talking to him. He was like one of the truck reps or
he does,
vendors.
Yeah. He still does that.
And
but you know, he likes the convo. That's okay. That's all right. That's why we love him.
Yeah. I can't wait to get Brent on the podcast, man.
Yeah.
But
it'll happen.
It'll happen.
Yeah, you gotta have enough tape.
Yeah.
Enough recording space.
We could do
5 terabyte hard drive.
I'll just have to have some spare SD cards or whatever, but yeah.
It'll be a lot.
Well, shoot, dude. Thanks for coming by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Had a good freaking time.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that lemon lime because you're the guest. So.
Oh, okay. I'll take it home and I'll tell you. But the root beer wasn't that bad.
I should have offered you the cream soda, man.
No, that's okay.
I just opened it without even.
The root beer was better than the Dr. Goodwin. I'm curious now who Dr. Goodwin is.
Yeah.
Not curious enough to look it up, but I'm curious. But yeah, I'll take me some lemon lime, my friend.
Yeah, that'd be good for the road.
Yeah, cool thing. Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming.
Sure, no problem.
See you guys.